Alright, you've gotten the chance to see Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, right? Great. That means we got some Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice spoiler talk, and that is a solid spoiler warning. If you want to see me talk about the movie with no spoilers, I have a spoiler-free review. Check that out. But spoiler-free is not this video, so you've been warned. So getting right into this, can we just talk about how rad Batman is? Is he analytical detective Batman? Not really. Is he kick-ass Batman? Yeah. Is he Batman who doesn't kill people? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he slaughtered some folks. But they do a great setup for him when he is in Metropolis and you see Superman fighting Zod, and I mean the heat vision's going everywhere, buildings are getting busted down, he loses a friend. This movie really plays up the fact that you shouldn't see eye to eye with Batman. I mean, sometimes in this movie, Batman comes across as a dick, but he should be a dick. This is a billionaire who dresses up like a bat and fights crime. He's not really sane. Alan Moore was talking about Batman. I mean, Rorschach in Watchmen is pretty much Alan Moore's take on what Batman would be like. He's like, I wanted to explore what a character like that would be like, and the answer is he'd be a nut. So when Batman is completely blinded with this phobia about this alien who could wipe out the world, it really has no ill intent for mankind. It's interesting for me. In fact, any solid character in this movie comes from Batman. Everything else is pretty thin. And that's part of my frustration with Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I've gotten a lot of tweets, people are like, you were wrong about him? He's Lex Luthor's son, so he's supposed to be that way. That's like saying Jar Jar Binks is a Gungan, so he's supposed to be that way. So we should all deal with the fact that he's a shit character. No, and what I mean is Lex Luthor Jr. could have been better if they made him more like Lex Luthor that we know. Because as he is, he's kind of a spastic little weird, socially awkward twerp. Bruce Wayne would never work with someone like that, and he doesn't work with him in the movie. But wouldn't it have been better if Lex Luthor was more of a business mind? He was less weird and socially awkward. He was more like Lex Luthor that you know. He's more like the Michael Rosenbaum Lex Luthor. Then Bruce Wayne maybe could work with him. Because Bruce Wayne's afraid of this alien, Lex Luthor's afraid of this alien. That should be a match made in heaven. Those two should be working together right now. Then maybe at the end when Batman and Superman break bread and then Doomsday comes about, he's like, oh shit, my funding helped create that. I really have a vested interest in taking that thing down because I'm kind of a dick right now. Would have added to Batman's character, would have added to Lex Luthor's character, would have made for a better scenario, I personally think. But as it stands, Lex Luthor's just a weirdo. I love it when I did a video on it and I was like, Jesse Eisenberg is a horrible choice for Lex Luthor. People were like, well, what about that picture? He looks awesome. What do you think of that? Yeah, at the very, very end of the movie, he looks generally speaking like that. The biggest difference is in that picture, he doesn't have a big snot river running out of his nose. Seriously, at the end when he's like monologuing in his jail cell, he's like, they're coming, they're coming. I was like, wipe your nose. You wipe your nose. You wipe your fucking nose. Can you not right now? Can you just wipe? Just wipe your nose. It's just really gross. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of jumping track and jumping ahead to the end of the movie where you find out that Lex Luthor got a lot of knowledge through that little crashed Kryptonian ship, and he's coming, pretty much tells me that, yeah, Darkseid is, in fact, coming for the Justice League movie. And it's one of the many Justice League tie-ins. Wonder Woman gets her little flash drive, and you just, like, blatantly see all the Justice League tie-ins. I actually thought they were pretty cool. Out of place, yeah, it looks like they could have filmed that scene after the movie had completely wrapped. They were like, hey, we have one more thing we want to film. I know we wrapped like a year ago, but let's just shoehorn this into the movie. If someone told me that's how it went down, I'd be like, I can see that. But the point is, the Flash cameo was cool. The coolest one in that video was Cyborg. I thought that was really neat. Aquaman was awkward. He was just like they're like, yeah, Momoa, just look at the camera. That's all you gotta do. But also the Flash, I believe it was the Flash. I'm pretty sure that it was the Flash that came to Bruce Wayne because it was a dude all in red. I don't really know Ezra Miller's face, so it might not be him. I'm not really familiar with the actor, but I'm pretty sure that when you have a dude dressed all in red coming to someone in the DC universe in a vortex and a lightning cloud, I'm pretty sure it's probably the Flash. Because he obviously had knowledge. He was like, Lois Lane's the key. She's the key to everything. You were right about him. You were right about him. I'm like, all right, are you right about Superman? Is Lois Lane really the key? I really hope not, because in this movie, her character was pretty fucking hollow and she didn't do much at all. But that scene was pretty cool, I gotta say. Not just Lois Lane, but the whole Daily Planet thing was pretty useless. She's trying to track down this bullet. Granted, where the bullet came from, it came from LexCorp, and that was pretty important, but Lois Lane in her little crusade to find out where the bullet came from, and all the Daily Planet stuff, Lex Luthor's crusade, even Batman and Bruce Wayne's crusade and then the Wonder Woman thing where she wants her hard drive back. All of it is in the movie, but none of it really ties together as well as it probably should have for a movie that's setting up the DC Cinematic Universe. I don't know if that's a Zack Snyder thing or a studio thing. I really don't know. I do know at this point, Zack Snyder is pretty much Flash over substance. I mean, there are scenes in this movie where I was like, oh, that visually is great. Like when Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, and then the pearls are around the gun, and it shoots, and it cracks the pearl, and they all go everywhere. I was like, this looks great, and that's what you get when you're pitched as a visionary director. But any real moment in this movie that tried to delve deeper into the characters just came across as flat. Because I just don't know that Zack Snyder knows how to do that. Zack Snyder's strengths come from when you have 300 Spartans fighting a million Persians, and they just gotta fight and defend their land. Pretty simple, but that's where home is for him, right? Stay in the pocket. So at the end of this movie, Batman finally fights Superman, which again, I would have preferred a world where Superman wanted to fight Batman because Batman wanted to fight Superman. It's like, if you have Batman fighting Superman because Batman wants to fight Superman, then Superman fighting Batman because Superman wants to fight Batman. I find that I just like that because their ideologies are actually clashing with each other. As it stands, Lex Luthor kidnaps Superman's mom. He's pretty much like, you're gonna beat the shit out of the bat. That's what's gonna happen. So Superman's like, I guess I gotta do that thing. So it wasn't really Batman versus Superman. It was Batman fighting Superman, and Superman strong-armed into a fight he didn't really want to be in. However, the fight as it went down was pretty cool, and Batman has his gas grenades and he's throwing it at Superman. He's like, you're not brave. Men are brave. He has some good lines that he throws at Superman, but the whole you're not brave, men are brave, did anyone flash back to the Angus monologue that George C. Scott does in the movie Angus from back in '95? Seriously, YouTube, Angus, Superman isn't brave. And it's there. That's where I first saw it. Probably not the first time it was ever said, but it's what this made me think of. But ultimately, I do feel like that fight ends too quickly because it's like smack, smack, smack. It looks nice. It looks pretty. It looks cool. Then all of a sudden, Superman's all like, Martha, we have to save Martha. But Martha's his mom's name, but Martha is also Bruce Wayne's mom's name. He was like, where'd you hear that name? Where'd you get that name? Oh, that's your mom? All right. We're pals now. Then the greatest kick-ass Batman scene in the entire movie, or a lot of Batman movies, happens when he wrecks that warehouse full of dudes that you also saw in the trailer. Then again, with things that don't really link to the movie in the most cohesive way, Lex Luthor has created Doomsday, so now Doomsday is gonna fight everybody. And that's why Doomsday is in the last act of this movie. He's in the last act of this movie to fight, and then they fight, and then that's that. Which is also funny because when I was bitching about how Doomsday, first of all, I think Doomsday does look like garbage, but that's not my problem with Doomsday. My problem with Doomsday is how he fit or lack thereof into the movie. The fact that he looks like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings is just like it's like the fourth thing wrong with the entire scenario. Which when I bitched about it, my trailer video that I did on Batman vs. Superman when they first showed him, people were like, well, he's gonna evolve in the movie, dude. Credit where credit's due, there is Doomsday evolution. He does evolve into that. Before that, he has no bone spurs whatsoever. He evolves a little more because Wonder Woman cuts off his arm and then he has a lot more bone spurs that come out of there, but generally speaking, that's what he looks like for most of the fight. But then this huge throwdown happens and they get nukes, like Superman's like, yep, I'm nuke proof, I'm in space. Which is in the comic book. We've seen him be nuke proof before, so yeah, it's lore. And they all work together and they kill Doomsday, but not before Doomsday stabs Superman in his S and kills him too. So they really do the death of Superman in this movie in some way, shape, or form. Which at first I was like, holy shit, did they really just take that leap? Or they, like, because now you'll have a Justice League that I imagine Batman would get together, but it's not going to have Superman as the flagship. He's not going to be the captain of the ship now, but I found that pretty ballsy. I was like, that's pretty cool. Then it shows the casket and the little pebbles lift off the casket and then the credits roll and I was like, oh, never mind. Okay, you're just reneging on the whole thing. I get it. Which is funny because in this movie, Superman really didn't do much. It's more of a Batman movie than a Superman movie. So when Superman was dead, I found it ballsy, but I found it okay. I was like, well, we didn't lose Batman. That's the important thing. And now we all know he's alive. And so it's like, all right, well, it's not a big deal. Because in the end, the biggest problems with this movie are the fact that it's not cohesive. It's pretty all over the place. It wants to be Batman versus Superman, but it really just should have been called Dawn of Justice. I guess if you call it Dawn of Justice, you don't have the Batman and Superman brand in the title. And it looks like there are attempts at weaving the movie together, but they don't really flow. Like at the very beginning, that dude gets his legs crushed, and then Bruce Wayne saves him. And then that guy has a chip on his shoulder for Superman. and then Lex Luthor uses him to do that capital bombing. Explaining it here was a little smoother than the movie's execution because in the movie, it's just there are a bunch of disjointed story arcs that are trying to weave together, but they come across as a bunch of disjointed story arcs. Batman and everything he was in the movie, which is funny because he was like the first fear I had for this entire movie was Ben Affleck as Batman. Turns out he's the best thing in the movie. I say the movie's wasted potential, and some people get pissed at me because they're like, well, you went into the movie with expectations you shouldn't have. Yeah, I went into Batman versus fucking Superman with expectations that it would have been more entertaining than it was. Weird, I know. If there's one thing I can call this movie, it is wasted potential with moments of cool shit. However, I walk away from this movie actually pretty excited for the other Justice League solo movies. I want to see The Flash now. I want to see Aquaman. I want to see Wonder Woman. I want to see all of their solo movies. I want to see Cyborg. So bring them all on. Let's check it out. All right, so Batman versus Superman. Have you finally seen it? I imagine you've seen it now. Like in my last review, I was like, have you seen it? What did you think about it? On Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever I put that up. But now, if you're going to see it this weekend, you've seen it this weekend. So what did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.